How's it going, guys? I'm Mike Dwyer from the Bunker Recordings and BetterMixes.com, and today we're going to take a look at 10 more must-have studio accessories. I did a video a little while back on this topic, which I'll link up in the corner, but I want to show you 10 more accessories that make my life as an audio engineer much easier. Now, before we get into the list, I just want to give a giant thank you to everybody who subscribed to this channel. We just hit 1,000 subscribers the other day, and while that might not be a lot in the whole world of YouTube, I think it's absolutely incredible to know that I'm helping 1,000 people improve their mixes and make better music every single week. So if you've already subscribed, thank you so much. And if you haven't, be sure to subscribe and maybe we can hit 2,000 soon. But anyway, getting into the list, we've got number 1, a DI box and a ReAmp box. These are obviously two separate things, but I'm just counting them as one entry on this list. But I've already made a whole video on why you should take a DI track when recording guitars, so be sure to check that video out for a better explanation. But a DI is great to have around for guitars, bass, keyboards, kind of whatever. And yes, you can just use the DIs built into your audio interface, but the major advantage to a dedicated DI box is that they have a through output. So you can send your guitar to an amp, for example, while still recording the guitar DI, so you can take both at the same time. And then the ReAmp box allows you to send those DI guitars back out to an amp later if you want to get another tone. Or you can use it for a million different things. It's not just for guitars. For instance, I've reamped drums into guitar pedals and vocals into guitar amps. There's just a lot of fun creative stuff you can do once you get into reamping. And yes, you can just run a cable straight out of your interface's output and skip the ReAmp box. That will technically work, but you're most likely going to have more noise in it, which may or may not be a problem depending on the exact application. But if you find yourself doing a lot of reamping, and if the noise is a problem, then definitely grab a ReAmp box. Moving on to number 2 on our list, we have earplugs. Seriously, I don't know why so many audio engineers are against using earplugs, but your ears are literally the most important thing you have when it comes to recording and mixing music, so you don't want to damage them. I personally use Westone custom molded earplugs. They are super comfortable and sound really good, but they are expensive. There's a lot of great cheaper options though. There's quite a few between like 15 and 20 bucks or so that are still fairly comfortable and sound fairly good. Or on the really cheap end, you can always just get the foam ones. I definitely think it's worth splurging on like the $15, $20 ones though, because they sound a whole lot better. They don't filter out all the highs like the foam ones do. But yeah, just having a pair or two lying around your studio. So if you have to go adjust some drum mics or something, you know drummers can't not play drums for more than like 20 seconds while sitting in front of them. So do your ears a favor and pick up a pair. Now moving on to number 3 on our list, we have a control surface. I personally use a fader port. I've got the older single channel version here. I also have the 8-channel version on my desk back here, but I actually prefer the older single channel one. But there are a bunch of other options. Some of them are much nicer, but also much more expensive. I think this little guy here does an awesome job, and I think I bought it for maybe 75 bucks or something. But basically, the fader port allows you to get hands-on with your mix. I'm a huge fan of doing a lot of automation in mixes, and doing it with a real fader can feel a lot more natural than doing it with a mouse. And speaking of mouse, next up on our list is a really good mouse. Now, exactly which one is right for you is tough to say. That's very much a personal thing. But if you're still rocking like the old Apple Mighty Mouse or like a super basic Logitech mouse or something, it might be time for an upgrade. There are a lot of great options out there. I know a lot of people like the Kensington trackball, and I know a lot of other people use like gaming mouses, but the one that really works for me is the Apple trackpad. It feels much better in my hand. My hand is much more open while using it as opposed to cramping up around a tiny mouse. It has super intuitive 360-degree scrolling, and maybe the coolest thing is together with an app called Better Touch Tools, I'm able to program it to do all kinds of different things. For instance, I programmed mine so that if you tap in the different corners, it'll switch between the different tools in Pro Tools. Or I can zoom in and out with a pinch motion. Or if I 3-finger tap, it will cut out the section of audio that I have highlighted. So like I said, I definitely love the trackpad, but it's not for everybody. But you should definitely find something more ergonomical and more functional than a standard mouse. Number 5 on our list is Throat Coat T. So this might seem like a weird one, but if you're recording singers, having this on hand can be a lifesaver. A lot of the time in the studio, singers might be singing a lot longer than they're used to, and it might really be pushing their vocal cords. I don't know what's in the Throat Coat T, but it really helps to soothe your throat if it's feeling a little bit scratchy. And it can be the difference between getting a vocal track done and not. So for a few bucks, it's something you should absolutely have in your studio all the time. And speaking of beverages, next up on our list is a badass coffee maker. Life is too short to be drinking bad coffee. You deserve good coffee, your clients definitely deserve good coffee, so go grab yourself a decent coffee maker so your clients don't have to get their coffee from the gas station down the road. If any coffee nerds are watching and are curious about my recommendations for a coffee machine for the studio, let me know in the comments down below and we can nerd out over coffee stuff. But I didn't want to go down the coffee rabbit hole in this video. And getting back to more directly audio related studio accessories, up next is the Dynamount. So this is by far the most expensive accessory we're talking about today, but it's also by far the coolest. The Dynamount is basically a microphone robot. You can control it with an app on your computer or your cell phone, and it allows you to move a mic around in front of a source while sitting in the sweet spot in front of your monitors. This has been an absolute game changer for me for electric guitars. Ever since I got this thing, I've been getting the best guitar sounds I've ever gotten in my career. I was definitely a little bit hesitant about getting it. I didn't know if it would really improve my guitar sounds at all or save me much time, but holy crap it does. I'm able to get the mic in the perfect position in like a matter of seconds without having to run back and forth between the live room and control room, move the mic half an inch, say, I think it was a little bit better before, let me try moving it back. Oh no, maybe a little bit farther. This just makes it so easy. Moving on to number 8 on our list, we have a powered USB hub. So chances are you've got about 100 things that need to be plugged into your studio's computer at any given time, most of which are USB. So a USB hub is a must-have. But to take it one step farther, if you get a powered USB hub, one that you can optionally plug into the wall, this will have you covered no matter what you're trying to plug in. Because maybe you're trying to plug in a MIDI controller or something that is powered off the USB, and a lot of the time, if you're using hubs and adapters and stuff, it won't be delivering the power that the device needs. So if you get a powered hub, you'll be good to go. And now number 9 on our list, an amp splitter. I have this one here, the Big Shot from Radial, but there are quite a few of these out there. But sometimes it can be fun to run a guitar or a bass into multiple amps. For instance, maybe on a guitar, it would sound cool to blend a Vox amp with a Marshall amp or something like that. Or on bass, you might run it into a clean bass amp and a crunchy guitar amp or whatever. But that's where this comes in handy. These have multiple transformer isolated outputs, so that'll help protect you from getting ground loop hum. And this one also has a phase switch on it because some amps and some speakers will be out of phase with other ones. So this will help you get that all right in the room. But seriously, you can do a lot of fun stuff with these. And finally, number 10 on our list, random adapters. Just any kind of audio adapter. Turnarounds, both XLR and quarter-inch, male and female. Goofy splitter cables. Here we've got quarter-inch to XLR, XLR to 1/8" stereo, and the ever so important 1/8" to quarter-inch stereo, also known as the headphone adapter. Just this one alone could have been its own entry on this list. You should just have like a box of 100 of these because they always go missing. But I can't tell you how many times these goofy cables and goofy adapters have come in handy. Because ultimately, at some point, somebody's going to come into your studio and want to connect two things together that don't really go together. Like maybe they'll bring in an old tape recorder that only has an RCA output and they want to plug that into a guitar amp. Well, if you don't have a pile of goofy adapters, then you're not going to be able to make that happen. So there you have it. 10 more must-have accessories for your studio. And like I said, this video is really a part 2. I already had a part 1 of 10 other must-have studio accessories a couple months back, so be sure to check that one out if you haven't seen it. But if there's any cool accessories that I missed in both of these videos, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. And if you found this video helpful, it would be really awesome if you could leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Also, head on over to bettermixes.com to grab a free copy of my Ultimate EQ cheat sheet.